Every great creative work stands on the shoulders of giants. Welcome to RetroInspection, where we examine and find out where the things we love today came from.
So, Nick, let's talk about this book of his.
Okay.
It is written for children.
Yes. Yeah. It's not it's not the first kids book version, but obviously the preeminent one.
Right. It starts off with Robin Hood building his merry band. And each of the tales that comprise the chapters are complete on their own, in that they tell a sequence of events that led up to, for instance, Little John being introduced into the Merry Men, or
Will Scarlet,
Stuteley, and Will Scarlet. All these different elements are added, and it's not until we get to what I find the most different about Pyle's Robin Hood, from my experience in the modern culture. The story doesn't really start off with an overriding narrative until you get to this tournament that King Henry has for his archers. And Eleanor of Aquitaine secrets into Sherwood, I think, she sends her knight to approach Robin Hood and his band to challenge the king's own archers, which Robin Hood does. And it's not until it gets to that point where I think Pyle spends about maybe even 10 chapters introducing each of the characters. So, Friar Tuck is introduced in his own chapter. The Sheriff of Nottingham is introduced in his own chapter. Richard of Lee is introduced in his own chapter. And there is an overriding story that's going on if you pay attention, but most of these tales, most of these chapters can be read on their own without interrupting an overall narrative until you get to this tournament. And I know that you had a little bit of trouble with this.
Yeah, but I mean, that's whatever. We're not even really here to review the book. We're kind of. I found it slow going. It was a tough read for me.
Why do you think? What do you think? It was because it was targeted toward children that
may be a factor, and maybe it influenced the style. The style of the writing was the hard part for me. It was written late enough that it could have been written in a relatively modern style, but it wasn't. There was a tremendous amount of telling and not showing.
What do you mean by that?
There could have been like more dialogue. Instead, you're just told this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. And
so not even just dialogue. You're talking about descriptions of events
depiction. Yeah. Or sometimes you're told of things that happen off stage. Well, okay, maybe they could have happened on stage. So that's just me. Whatever. I don't even know where That's valid. It was my reaction to it, but like I said, we're not really doing a review.
No, but we want to
kind of hold this till the end. But
we want to be able to recommend this to people. So part of this is if we have any issues with any of the literature that we read, we want to tell people about it first, because the reason we're evaluating this book anyways, or at least going through it, is because it lays the groundwork for a lot of what we see today, and probably 99% of how we view Robin Hood comes from Howard Pyle's work. But there are other aspects to this book and his writing that need to be discussed, because we don't want people to go in with a preconceived notion of that there aren't issues with how we would perceive it as a modern reader. So
Yeah.
just know that it is not written in a modern narrative style for the most part. It isn't until you get to this tournament where you can see Pyle is directly describing the events that occur in a linear fashion and is not relying on expository information. So just know that you're going to get more description up front until you get to this story. That's not to take away with what he was trying to do, because in 1883, when this was published, it was a huge success worldwide.
Yeah.
And that's why we remember it today, because it was so successful. Other artists began to use Pyle as the reference for this, for Robin Hood.
Like, subscribe, repost, share everywhere. To see what else we're up to, visit xynobooks.com, xenobooks.com.